I don't want to get pregnant yet. I definitely want babies someday. I'm broody as hell, but I'm not ready yet. Not for at least 4 or 5 more years. 5, 6. I can't wait to like come here in the future with like a big bunch of kids.
It's just growing that family around what we already have, because you already feel like my family.
Yeah.
And I want more. I'm greedy.
Thomas and I cannot stop talking about when we have babies, when we have kids, when I am pregnant, and we would like to kind of start trying quite soon. You can see that a little 3-month bump is starting to pop. I just like showing off my belly. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, come on, baby. Oh. I'm making YouTube videos, obviously you probably know that in the future, and you're not in any of them, protecting your face from the internet. Let's make some babies. I'm going to be talking through all the things that I did before I started trying to have a baby. I am a mama of 1. I have a 10-month-old baby and I got pregnant right away. Now look, my own doctor told me it's actually very normal to be trying for 1 to 2 years when you're around my age.
Age, check box. 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 34.
Welcome to my box.
Age is a big factor when it comes to how many eggs you have and egg quality and whatnot. And I definitely went into this whole trying to conceive thing after managing my expectations.
Lower your expectations a lot. You might think your dick is a gift, I promise it's not.
I fully expected it to take a long time, and it didn't. And I got extremely lucky there, and that's a disclaimer I want to share, is that like even if you do everything in this video, you have been doing everything in this video, it doesn't mean that you're just gonna get pregnant like that. However, I did so much research and took this so seriously before I started trying, because it meant so much to me and my husband. And so I want to package all of this information up for you. If you're ever intending on going down this road, all of this information is really important for you to know. We're just going to dive in, right? First things first, get a health check. It's really important that you talk to your doctor about any current medications that you might be on that might interfere with your cycles, your hormones. Like, you can ask to have these things checked, your hormones and stuff. Talk through any pre-existing conditions and whether or not those will impact on your journey. So one of my ovaries had all these little collections of fluid called follicles on it, and yeah, it's good to know that. It's just always really good to know where you're at and to speak with a professional. And the next one is just stupidly important. Timing is everything when it comes to getting pregnant, and monitoring ovulation and my cycle, getting off hormonal contraception in advance of trying for a baby. I'm sure these things alone would have massively increased my chances of getting pregnant, even if I did none of the other things. From previous experience of getting off the pill in my past, because I was on and off the pill for years, I knew that it can cause menstrual irregularities for up to a year after coming off of it, and that is the same with some other hormonal contraceptions. It gave me all these side effects like the moodiness and the weight gain and like all of that kind of good stuff. It is worth looking into the impact of synthetic hormones on just everything. Like, most hormonal birth control works by stopping ovulation, which is a huge process in the body to interfere with. Yeah, so I wanted to be back to like having a real period every month. This next part is all really important information for any woman to be aware of, whether you're trying to have a baby or not, whether you're trying to just not have a baby. Right, so a woman's egg, it's only fertile for 12 to 24 hours after its release. But, a big but, a man's sperm can exist in our body, living, swimming around for up to 5 days. So ovulation, which is the time every month when your body releases an egg, having sex around this is the time you're most likely to get pregnant. It's usually like 2-ish weeks, so 12 to 16 days before your period starts. This is what you have to remember, right? So the fertile window, you have a window of time here, girls, guys, anyone who's watching, it spans about 5-ish days prior to ovulation and the day of ovulation, and this is when you are most fertile if you have a regular cycle, and this is when you want to be like, let's get it on. If you have irregular cycles, it can be more difficult to predict when your ovulation will happen, and I recommend talking to your doctor to rule stuff out, such as PCOS, endometriosis, anything that might have an impact on all of this. One thing I will say is if that you are having irregular periods, just have a whole lot of extra sex. Like bam, bam, 2 days later, bam, 2 days later, all month long. Don't even chance missing that egg. I know that's not possible for everybody, especially if you already have a child.
Don't I know it?
I have written here on my laptop, according to a 2019 paper published in the journal Nature, there is a wide variety in the lengths of cycles of people who menstruate, and the time and duration of ovulation changes over a person's lifetime. This variability means that it is best to monitor ovulation to find out when you are most likely to conceive. If you've watched me for a long time, you'll know that I started using an app called Natural Cycles years ago, and I am planning on using this to try for baby number 2, probably next year, and I'm going to start using it again when my period comes back, because I've not had a period for so long, the whole pregnancy, the whole time I've been breastfeeding for these 10 months. Natural Cycles recommend starting again when your period comes back. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But if you are new to these parts, Natural Cycles is the first FDA cleared birth control app. It's for over 18s, and while it can be used to prevent pregnancy, it can also be used to plan pregnancy. So I have personal experience using Natural Cycles as a birth control method, and then also in the plan pregnancy mode. It helped me identify my fertile window, but this is really interesting because I had used it for quite a while before starting to try for baby. But women who had previously used Natural Cycles had an average time to pregnancy of 85 days versus women who had previously used hormonal contraception with an average time to pregnancy of 146 days. And I'd say that is maybe tied into how hormonal contraception does kind of impact and play around with things, you know, whereas this is a natural alternative to hormonal birth control. There is not one size fits all when it comes to contraception. It's really important to know what will work for you, like with your lifestyle. The reason I really liked this for birth control personally is because firstly I was with someone who I saw myself settling down with, and we had all the conversations that we both wanted children. We'd both been tested for sexually transmitted infections, diseases, and the way this works really appealed to me as well. So the app is powered by an algorithm that's able to identify your daily fertility status based on your basal body temperature, which is best measured first thing in the morning using one of these thermometers just after you've woken up. There is a link between fertility and your body temperature. There's a noticeable rise in temperature after ovulation happens, and this thermometer has 2 decimal points. So you check it, you input the information into the app, and then the app gives you a red day or a green day. Green day, you're not fertile. Red day, you're fertile. I will leave the website down below, and please read into it if you are considering doing this as a birth control with perfect use. It is extremely effective. However, obviously there is imperfect use, the same with condoms, the same with pill taking.
The only way to protect yourself 100% from STIs and unwanted pregnancy is just to not have sex.
I think it's so important that more options exist for women who have had issues with hormonal birth control. It affected me very badly personally. I do have a code for you if you're interested. It's 20% off an annual Natural Cycles subscription and a free thermometer as well. Code and link are down below. And then next, quite a big one. Well, first, caffeine. I was told that I could have some caffeine, and I definitely massively decreased it, and I would more regularly have decaf coffee and stuff in the year leading up to trying for a baby. But since around the time I got pregnant, a 2020 review study published in BMJ Evidence-Based Medicine apparently found that there was no safe level of caffeine consumption for pregnant women or for those trying to get pregnant, which is mad. You know, there's caffeine in a lot of things, fizzy drinks, chocolate, you know, so have a look at your caffeine intake and just see where you can cut down. Drugs, obviously a big no-no, and alcohol was a huge one, very difficult thing to part ways with before even trying to get pregnant. But I gave up drinking, I believe about 6 months-ish before I started trying, and I actually didn't just give it up because I knew I wanted to get pregnant. It was for problem drinking reasons, and it wasn't very good for my mental health or for my relationships. So it was a hugely positive step giving up alcohol, and I have separate videos all about that. But it is wild. Research has shown that even drinking lightly can increase the time it takes to get pregnant and even reduce the chances of having a healthy baby. Drinking regularly can affect your periods, so your cycle, your ovulation. They don't know exactly why it affects fertility, but there is a very obvious connection there. And I definitely think that having alcohol completely out of my system by the time that I started trying to get pregnant helped immensely. And I say that because it had a knock-on effect with all of these other points that I'm about to mention, because I had no hangovers, no stress from issues raised by nights when I would be drunk and doing silly things and saying silly things, and much less indulgence in hangover food and whatnot, you know. So there's just a huge knock-on effect there. And if you can switch to alcohol-free alternatives, highly encouraged. Like, it was, I do miss drinking, but it was honestly one of the best things I ever did. I was about to say, like, probably is the best thing, but that right there is quite a big statement, but it is up there. On this point, I just want to put a very quick trigger warning for if you have current eating disorder issues or you don't like any talk about weight at all. Maybe skip to the next point. I'm going to have them all down in the description box, like the timestamps, but it is just a fact that being underweight or overweight, both of these things can impact your odds of getting pregnant. Research has shown that women who are overweight can take twice as long to get pregnant as a woman whose BMI is in the normal weight category. A woman who's underweight by the BMI may take 4 times as long to conceive. If your BMI is under 18, you can stop ovulating. I, for one, grew up during a time when, like, size 0 was just celebrated so much, you know. And even now, people are always trying to have, like, these tiny little waists and stuff. Well, you need body fat, damn it. And I know BMI is an extremely flawed system of categorization. Someone very near and dear to me is very overweight on the BMI scale, but he is just extremely muscular. So I know it's a flawed system, but it's not based on these extreme examples, and it's backed up by a ton of research. The fact that having a certain amount of body fat produces excess estrogen, which can interfere with ovulation. It doesn't always. It's not like you can't get pregnant in this situation. I'm just sharing these tips because these are all the things that I took into account. I was going to the gym consistently for 2 years, lifting heavy weights, doing the odd little bit of, like, high intensity interval training, doing long walks. I was very conscious of being at a healthy weight for my body, and now my healthy weight was 140 pounds. I'm 5'6". That is by no means, like, super skinny. I was a UK size 12. Some brands of, like, a UK size 10 would fit me. You know, I moved my body plenty and I ate nourishing foods, which is another point. But years before all this, I had to work through an awful lot of issues when it came to weight and numbers and all that kind of stuff, because I experienced really bad issues with eating disorders. And I know that this can be a really difficult issue when it's coming from a place of, like, feeling like you need to be restrictive. The time before I got pregnant was, like, the least restrictive time of my life. I was really vibrant and healthy and fit and strong and trying to constantly nourish myself and build myself up. It was never coming from a place of, like, I need to take up less space or, like, I need to look a certain way in pictures. It was about my body, fertility, health, and those things always would be at the forefront of my mind, and it made it all very enjoyable, actually. Anytime I get bored with exercise, I would just mix things up and try different things, different plans. Kept it all simple though, like, not putting mad pressure, just trying to build it into my life as a habit. I have a whole video about fitness habits. Next point is on a prenatal supplement, folic acid as well. Like, folic acid is in it, but folic acid is really important. That's a B vitamin that helps to prevent birth defects in new babies. But yeah, it's kind of important to, like, stock up the bodily stores of folic acid in advance, because the neural tube and the spine and all of that stuff develops really early in pregnancy. Yeah, like, it can develop before you even know that you're pregnant, so it's important to kind of take before you start trying. Yeah, prenatal vitamin, it's not going to do you any harm. And, like, you obviously can just, like, eat the rainbow, and, you know, folic acid is in a lot of different foods, like leafy greens, green vegetables, citrus fruits, beetroot, beans, rice, pasta, eggs, you know. So if you're eating a good balanced diet, that's going to help anyway. Speaking of diet, and this isn't just about diet, it was massively to do with stress and stress reduction as well, but I did nutritional therapy for IBS first of all and fertility. They were the main 2 key things that I brought up when I was doing my nutritional therapy, and I did a video about that. Honest to God, I am feeling the best that I think I ever have in terms of energy levels, in terms of digestion, in terms of mood, my strength, my fitness, my body image. Like, I'm just feeling phenomenal right now. If you've never done it, I would highly recommend doing it because they personalize everything. Like, they go through all of your specific history, like right back to when you're really young. It was fascinating. I learned so much from it. And I actually realized recently though that I have not been following all of my nutritional therapy tips, and I need to start switching back to that as well in advance of trying for another baby. So some of the really important takeaways for me were protein rich breakfasts, omega-3s like oily fish, foods that support the liver. Examples that I remember are like avocado, blueberries, garlic, eggs, walnuts, like that kind of thing. She just gave me so much advice, and like taking Epsom salt baths, which I still do, taking magnesium supplements, breathing exercises. Like, there was so much involved with it. So yeah, I want to recommend that you do it yourself though, because my experience with nutritional therapy may not apply to you depending on your own like health and body and like where you're at and what your goals are. I felt so healthy around the time that I was following all of the advice that I learned through it. I think I only did about 3-4 sessions maybe, and then I tracked my food in like a food journal. Not calories, I was mainly tracking. I would track calories like maybe one day every couple of weeks, just to make sure I was having enough, because I was exercising a fair bit. I was mainly trying to make sure that I was getting enough nutrients. Like, I wanted to make sure that my diet was really varied and had loads of different whole foods in it, and I was eating less processed foods and stuff coming up to train for baby. I was just taking my health a lot more seriously coming up to trying to get pregnant, because I just really, really, really desperately wanted my baby. And I'm just, like, it's so mad when I even think of him and his little face. Like, he specifically wouldn't exist if I hadn't like done all of these things, and if my life hadn't been exactly as it was right up into that moment, that egg met that sperm and created him. Oh my goodness. So yeah, tracking, eating enough calories. I also drank red raspberry leaf tea, not for a hugely long time before getting pregnant. And I did drink it when I was pregnant as well, but this tea is really rich in vitamins and minerals. It's known as a uterine tonic, and it, can't hurt. I read a lot of great stuff about it online for fertility, and also I was just like, why not? I like me some tea. I like red raspberry. It actually doesn't taste like that though. It tastes kind of disgusting, but I just drank it anyway. And I also did therapy. I think this was really important. I did just general therapy for like personal problems, relationship issues I was having. Did a few sessions, and I think that it was really important for me to be in a very calm state of being before I started trying to get that baby in there. You can just really relax into the sex when you're chilled out. And I had a lot of kind of, worries about, I don't know, what if my husband meets someone else and leaves me? And I had just all this like fears that I was kind of projecting out onto him and onto our relationship. And I didn't want to be trying for a baby coming from this place of fear and worry. And I just wanted to be in a really like headstrong, stable place. So that was so important for me, I think, to do that therapy. I do think it was crucial in how calm I was. Stress, timing, like these things are huge when it comes to getting pregnant, and ignoring all of these things. I think I said it earlier as well, but like frequent sex, it's obviously gonna help, because that's kind of how the baby gets in there. But one point I want to say, because I didn't realise this until I was quite old actually, was that certain lubricants can actually decrease sperm mobility, and that's important when you want to get pregnant. So some water-based vaginal lubricants can decrease the movement of sperms. So if you're going to be using a lubricant, do look into that. I wasn't using any, I don't think, before I was breastfeeding. I don't think I needed it, but I just wanted to throw that in case you're like all stocked up on some brand of lube and that lube is actually impairing your chances. Maybe you're having loads of sex and all the sperm's like, no. Yeah, look, I know there was a lot of information thrown at you, but us women, when we want babies, we get real serious about this stuff, and hope some of you probably treated this video like a lecture, and you know, maybe you're taking down little notes, and that would make me very happy to know, because the whole point of this channel is to, like, you know, connect with you and share information that might be valuable to you. I know people in my personal life who have struggled with this. It's a very sensitive issue. It's a very sensitive subject in general. I myself, when I was 19, lost a baby, an unplanned baby, but a baby nonetheless. And I was in a very different place when it came to like my lifestyle and my health 10 years ago than where I'm at now. Like, I feel a lot healthier now than I was even when I was like still 19 years old, you know. So you do have a huge amount of control over your body, how it works, how it functions, your immune system, all of it. And I don't want to ever contribute to any kind of like, you know, oh, that's just your lot, you know, just deal with it. It's just, you know, like there are things that you do have control over. And then if you have conditions or issues or like imbalances that make everything an awful lot more difficult for you, there always are routes and options. I in the past worked with a company called Bloom. I believe it's run by Merck. A lot of all this is like covered on their website, but they talk through things like IVF and whatnot. Yeah, you know, I just believe, like, if you want to be a mother, like a parent, if you want to be a parent, nothing will stop you. Maybe you'll foster, maybe you'll adopt, like, you will be a parent if you want to be a parent. No doubt about that. And honestly, like, if I just be really serious with you for a minute, it's the best thing I've ever done with my life. Nothing else I've done holds a candle to this role of mother, like being my child's guide, caring for him, protecting him, feeding him, nurturing him, playing with him, like everything that it entails. Like, it's so hard. I'm fucking exhausted, like just emotionally exhausted, you know. And it was a very deep desire of mine, and was for a very long time. And I think I reached a point in my life where I was trying to convince myself that I didn't want it as much as I did, because I was scared that I wouldn't have it. Yeah, so I do relate to that worry. Like, I had so much fear around having PCOS. I had a scare with that because I had a lot of symptoms of it, and like my doctor was not being very clear with me. And I went through, I was like, what if I do have it? Because my sister has it, other people in my family have it, and I was having all these symptoms, and I was like, oh my god, what does that mean? And my whole first novel was like, that was the driving force behind the character, the fact that she was worried she'd never have children. And then she gets access to all these parallel lives, and then in one of them there's this chapter where she wakes up and she's in a different version of her life pregnant with PCOS, because you can get pregnant if you have PCOS. It can take time, but I really hope some of these things help to speed things up for you. I'm very grateful to Natural Cycles for working with me on this video. I'm delighted to have championed them for such a long time. And yeah, if you're trying for a baby, best of luck. Hang on, even if it's taken ages and it just feels so annoying and horrible, or even if you've experienced miscarriages, like, know that there are people like this incredible woman. She had 14 miscarriages, a baby through a surrogate, and then she got pregnant with twins. Miracles do happen. And yeah, I'm sending you all of my loving energy to you and your vagina or penis, whatever you have, your uterus, whoever's watching this. You want the babies, and giving you all of the big baby energy. Big baby bum? Little baby bum, that's the name of the cartoon. Keep little baby bum in mind. It's great to put on if your child is screaming when you're in a restaurant trying to have a nice meal with your partner. I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. Please thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. Bye.